courtesy of Grit City Co-op, we have a cooking demo, and the point of this cooking demo is not like fancy recipes that maybe Rachel Ray will tell you, or much less Alice Lauder. The point of this cooking demo is you can cook with scratch ingredients that you get straight out of a co-op or any grocery store that are very inexpensive and very easy to prepare, very easy to cook. May take a little longer than you're used to, but not so long that it's really undoable, and much less expensive and much healthier than what you get out of a box. So here we go. What we're going to fix is called hasty pudding. And I don't really know this, but I got the recipe for hasty pudding out of the Fanny Farmer cookbook. And the Fanny Farmer cookbook goes way back into the 19th century, Fanny Farmer's cooking school, which was in Boston. And it has a really strong New England flavor, the recipes do, and the heritage from New England. Now, there's another dish in that that's a very famous dish, kind of a dessert, that's called Indian pudding. And it's made with cornmeal and eggs. It comes out as kind of a custard, and it's delicious, but it takes about 3 or 4 hours to make, because you have to bake it like a custard. Okay. And I've always thought that hasty pudding, which is what we're going to make, is called hasty in contrast to Indian pudding, which takes so long. So hasty pudding is something that you can make for breakfast, where you haven't got 3 or 4 hours to use up. So that's what we're making, is hasty pudding. And I'll talk a little more about it, but I've got to get things set up because I haven't too much, but they're very easy to set up. So I'll tell you some more about pots and pans, but I'm doing it the easy way in just a saucepan. Let me make sure this saucepan is big enough. Is it a 1-quart pan? There's a 2-quart pan, so it's easily big enough. Perfect. So 1-quart pan. Well, you need at least 1 quart, but you should have a bigger pan. This is a 2-quart pan, just a simple saucepan.
It doesn't look that big.
What's the matter?
Doesn't look that big, but.
Well, it says right here, 2 quarts. Okay. Now that's the pan we're going to cook in, but you need another vessel, and the other vessel can be really anything that'll hold at least a cup. So I'm just going to get another little pan here, and it's going to be easy as pie. Okay, so I'm getting my 1 cup measure, and I'm getting into the fridge to find my cornmeal. And what I have here is just medium grind cornmeal. You can get it in any grocery store, and especially if the store sells it in bulk, you can get it in bulk and it's very inexpensive. So you want to get your, oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to take my 1 cup measure, and I'm going to put 3 cups of cold water in my saucepan. Okay. Now I'm going to spell this out in written out instructions. So don't be concerned if you haven't got it all down. But this moment in the technique is especially crucial. So I'm putting my 3 cups of water on the stove, and I've got to bring it to a boil. And I'm going to put some salt in it. And of course, how much salt you use is a matter of taste. I think I'll probably say to use a teaspoon, but I don't use that much salt. I'm going to just put a bit in there. So you've got salt in the cold water. I'm going to bring that to a boil. All right. Now, in the meantime, this is a very crucial part. I'm going to get another cup of cold water in this side bowl. This is something that you need to know if you're ever boiling cornmeal. If you put cornmeal in boiling water, you'll get a gloppy mess. You've heard of lumps in the gravy? Well, you'll have lumps in your cornmeal. So this trick is what we use in order to keep that from happening. So we have a slotted spoon, not too fancy, but any kind of slotted spoon. And we're going to use that to stir the cornmeal into the cold water.
Okay.
So that's the trick.
And this is 1 cup of cornmeal into 1 cup of cold water, right?
1 cup of cold water. So we have 4 cups water total, but 3 of them are coming up to a boil in my pan on high. And the other cup, I'm going to put in cold water. So while we're waiting for that water to boil, let me repeat this very crucial point.
Okay.
You can't put cornmeal into boiling water, because if you do, it'll just lump up.
All right.
So what we're going to do is put the cornmeal into 1 cup of cold water and stir it up until the cold water has all mixed in with the cornmeal.
Okay.
That's what we're doing now.
Nobody likes lumpy cornmeal, that's for sure.
Oh, no, it's horrible. Now, let me get into the fridge here, because I'm going to get another ingredient. And this ingredient is completely optional. It makes it a little richer. A little more nourishing, because what I'm going to use here is wheat germ. And wheat germ has a lot of protein in it. But I'm pretty sure that it also has gluten in it. So you don't want to do this if you're on a gluten-free diet. One of the virtues of cornmeal is no gluten. I don't know if you're aware of that, you people who have celiac disease or can't digest gluten, but corn flour or cornmeal is a great option for you. So I'm just going to measure out about 1/4 cup of this. It's not crucial how much, but just kind of a nice handful. And we'll use that to make the hasty pudding a little more nourishing. This is my own invention. I've never seen this in any recipe, but I add wheat germ to a lot of things, as does Mariella, my partner, because it's nourishing, and so you can have oatmeal cookies, or you can have chocolate chip cookies, or you can have all kinds of things and put in some wheat germ and makes it, you know, you can feel like, oh, I'm eating something really nourishing here. Well, I'm just about boiling on the water.
And Douglas, I looked this up online because I typically don't have wheat germ in my kitchen. But if others want to substitute that for something else, could they? Like oatmeal or chia seeds, other things to...
Done.
Okay.
You can put anything in there that,
Great.
you know, that you like. I mean, any kind of something you would add to hot cereal. Okay, come on, boil, boil.
A watch pot never boils.
Well, that's what I've been trying to do these other things. I think we're close enough here that we can move to this crucial step. So what I've got here is my 1 cup of cold water and my 1 cup of cornmeal. And if you watch here, you'll see that when I put the cornmeal in the cold water, it does fine. That is to say, it disperses in the cold water, mixes up in the cold water without any lumps. But you do want to give it a good stir. And, you know, if you're in a simple kitchen that doesn't have a lot of implements, you don't really have to have a slotted spoon. It's just that the slotted spoon helps you see if there's any lumps left in it.
Yeah.
But, you know, this can be done in the most simple way.
Okay.
Okay, so the water's boiling. You can see it's boiling good, and it's good for it to be boiling pretty hard. None of this is hard or so crucial. I'm making it sound too hard. So I'm just taking the cornmeal that's dispersed through the cold water, and I'm pouring it into the hot water. And now it's not going to get lumps. Although I can be sure of that, again, with my slotted spoon by kind of stirring it and seeing whether there's any lumps. Oh, there was one little one there, but it's dispersed. Okay, I mean, we're almost finished. This is such a simple thing that, you know, I'm making it long and drawn out, but it's really very simple. Now I'm going to just add my wheat germ. And wheat germ doesn't lump up. It's easy to add. This is actually quite a bit that I've added. Okay, Now we're finished. I
That's
told you
it?
it was simple.
Wow.
Since I'm using a saucepan, I need to be a little careful. I mean, anybody who cooks much knows this kind of thing. I need be a little careful regulating the heat, or it'll stick to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say a little bit more about that later. But I'm stirring a little bit, make sure it's stirred up good. And now I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm all finished. Wasn't that easy? It takes about 40 minutes to cook up to where the cornmeal is really thoroughly cooked and it's really not too lumpy or chewy. And we don't have time right now, but when we're in the live session, all the cooking shows have the time lapse so that, oh, now I take the chicken out of the oven and it's all roasted and that was 2 hours after she put it in. Well, I'm going to do that in the live show. I'll have a pot that we can show you how to serve it and eat it.
Perfect.
But let me say something about how I'm going to do that effectively. And this, I don't want to think, you got to have a fancy, well-equipped kitchen. But one of the first things that I would buy, or I did buy when I was found in the secondhand store when I was a starving student, was a double boiler. Now, I don't know if you know what a double boiler is, but basically a double boiler is just a saucepan that has an insert in it. So you put boiling water, you heat the water in the bottom part, and you do your cooking in the top part. So it disperses the heat so that you don't have to worry about things burning. And you can do all this in a double boiler. And I'll show you the advantage when we have the thing done, because I'll do it in a double boiler for the second, for the finished cooking. But anyway, for now, we're all finished. Come over and take a close look at this, and you can see that it's kind of getting thick. It's barely going through the slots in the spoon. So it's getting thick, and in another half hour, it's going to be ready to eat. And you'll just serve it up in a bowl with any kind of additions that you think will make it delicious. Now, let me say something about that right now, because I can't demo it because we're not done. But when you serve it, if you really want to make it delicious, we use 4 cups of water, so it'll make 4 good servings. So you serve it up in a bowl, just like you would a bowl of cereal. And if you really want to make it delicious and indulge yourself, you put a pat of butter on the top. You don't need to use quite that much if you don't want to have that much butter flavor, or if you want to watch your cholesterol or any of those other things you can worry about. But put some butter on the top, which of course will melt, and then put a bit of a sweetener. And we've saved so much money on this cheap cornmeal that I always use high-grade maple syrup, because I'm not going to use very much of it, and it's so delicious. But if you don't go for that, well, you can get a maple syrup, like Log Cabin that isn't 100%, or you can use Cairo. I suppose you could put brown sugar on. You do anything you want.
Agave.
You could use these. What's stevia? You can use anything. You don't have to use it. It's just a sweetener. And then I always put milk on the top. But again, if you want almond milk, or you don't need anything, you put anything you want on. It's very accommodating. But the crucial thing is that you wouldn't need to put any of those things on it. You can taste it after it's finished, and you can see that it's really quite delicious. Corn is quite sweet. That's why they make corn syrup out of it. You can just eat it straight out of the pan, and it's warm and filling and nourishing and delicious. So that's cooking Hasty Pudding on behalf of Grit City Co-op. So have a great weekend.